Andrew Berry talked about his approach to the draft.
We do like to try and get ahead of our roster planning, but it won't solely direct, our draft decisions. I think, more generally, like, you have a vision of maybe how the board will fall, or probably more likely how you'd like it to fall. It never falls that way, and so you have to be adaptable and flexible. But look, we'll probably be pretty consistent in terms of the positions that we invest high resources into, and certainly will be the case if we don't maybe have a young player behind behind an older veteran, and it's a key spot for us. But like I said, it won't solely direct it, but it definitely is part of it.
And Mac, those positions are usually tackle, edge, and defensive back. Those are the three that it's like 21%, 14%, or 28%, 20%.
Yeah. Can you catch the ball? Can you cover the receiver? Can you protect the passer? Can you rush the passer? Pretty much just knocking them all out right there. And that's the biggest thing is that, I always love the draft process, especially just because, a lot of people, there will be some that value the combine, some that will solely value the tape. And for me, I look at it as it's entirely a big puzzle where each piece is a factor. And roster construction and roster fit is one that I feel often goes to the wayside. And looking at how Andrew Berry attacks these draft classes is really interesting, in my opinion, just because of the fact that seeing how he will go ahead and attack each of these spots, I think is fascinating because of the fact that, again, we're now at the point now where Myles Garrett is 28 years old, going into his age 29 season at this point. He turns 29 in December. You have these guys that you still think of as being those younger players, whereas now they're those veterans. And you're getting into that next stage of this Browns team, that next evolution. And so getting a chance to see some of these younger players that take those next steps. You can't pay everybody. It's why, I know the name that constantly gets floated around is Greg Newsome. I know Andrew Berry kind of pushed back against potential trade talks for him. But, the way that I look at it is, you have these guys that are valuable. You have these guys that, you can't necessarily pay for each and every one of them. If you're going to pay Greg Newsome, then do you still pay MJ Emerson? Do you still, what are you going to do when it comes to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who's a free agent next offseason? Where is that extension coming in? And how do you fit all of this underneath the salary cap? Again, that's why those guys are paid much more than I am. But at the same time, I look at how this group is put together and how they attack the draft. And it's why I'm so fascinated when it comes to the preparation standpoint, because, when they're at pick 54, they're the lowest team that doesn't have a first-round pick. But at the same time, they still have to do those mock drafts to see who's available on the board when we pick. How many different variations can we go through? It adds so much to it, and it's why I'm so ecstatic to see how these guys attack it, especially being versatile and adaptable, going on throughout this draft process.